I am still struggling to make something out of what this season has been. And this what if statistic right here, what if every one possession in overtime game had the opposite result? A&M sitting there at 7-1. There's been a bunch of close losses again. Man, it's been hard to make sense of this season. It's been tough. It took me a couple of days to process the loss to Ole Miss because it was so close, and I want so badly to be proud of the team for the performance they had. I feel like that was the best O-line I've seen at Texas A&M since 2020, maybe. Maybe 2021, you had a couple of good games. But the way the O-line buckled down the second half of this last game, I was super happy about it. I was super happy about the way Max rebounded after that terrible interception in the end zone. I still don't fully understand what happened there. It just seems like him and Anais were on the same page. But it's just been so hard to process this loss because of how good I want to feel about it after some terrible offensive second halves we've seen this year. And they put a game together. I think about that amazing diving catch by Anais near the end zone in the clutch of that game. That was absolutely epic. I think about Ja'Day Walker's inspired performance. I love Ja'Day Walker, man. You know, he had some drops earlier in the year. He kind of rode the bench for a while. Of course, Evan out this last game. Ja'Day goes out there and just plays like a dog. I love as soon as he sees where the ball is, he's scrapping out there. He's trying to block. He's trying to get ahead of the play. You love energy like that from guys that are coming off the bench. But yeah, right here, Jeb is saying that game reminded me of the COVID Florida game, except we lost. Yeah. And I was actually, one of my points I was about to make in this spiel was that my hope is that even though we lost this game, the offensive line had that Florida 2020 performance. Because if you guys don't remember, I feel like I reference this game all the time. It's just one of my all-time, it's probably my favorite Jimbo Fisher win at Texas A&M. But the way that the O-line came together, buckled down after starting really bad. It was a bad first quarter for the O-line, much of the same. And the way they were able to put a drive before the half together and just play clean. Like the same O-line just played clean going into half. And then you feel really good about that. I tweeted that maybe that's the 2020 Florida moment, that drive in 2020 where the team lost momentum. The O-line bit down on their mouthpieces, put together like an 85, 90-yard drive with like 10 spiller runs into the end zone. And then I was feeling the same way to start the second half. 6-minute drive, 80-yard drive, something like that. Drive all the way down. You throw the interception. Awful. But you had a couple more drives after that, a couple more sustained drives, including a nice drive to put yourself in field goal range, only for their 6'7" guy to get a fingernail on it. But my hope is that even though we lost, like Jeb said, yes, it was like that game, but we lost. I'd like to believe that this is that offensive line's Florida moment. I'd like to believe that versus Mississippi State, we're going to see that kind of inspired performance. We're going to see them pick up right where they left off, not skip a beat, and play clean football. They didn't change anything. They just played better. That's all it really was. That's kind of the theme here. I know a lot of people complain about, oh, this is Jimbo's offense. This isn't really Petrino's offense. And maybe it is Jimbo's offense. But I honestly see a lot of opportunities out there, and the team is just mistake prone, man. The team just, like I said in one of my videos this week, it seems like A&M makes the big blunders, and the other teams make the big game-winning plays. For instance, versus Ole Miss, the big blunder that A&M made was that interception to start the second half. You almost set the tone perfectly going into the second half of this game. It was so close. And then Ole Miss, number 9, Trey Harris, I believe his name is. Yeah. Looking like an absolute beast. He had some one-handed stabs that were absolutely amazing. Let me go ahead and make sure that this call-in link is working and we're good to go there. And I'll go ahead and say what's up to you guys in the chat once I get this going. But yeah, man, it took me several days to really put this loss into perspective, into my mind. Because I want to feel good about it. Guys, I think that's a bad link for the call-in. I'm going to put a new link out there. I'm going to pin it. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this link. You're going to be prompted to join a waiting room. And I'll pull you guys in one by one to chat. I have a question for you guys. Does anybody watch The Pulse after a loss? Anybody? I know I definitely don't. It's kind of funny. You can see the pattern in their views. I love The Pulse. I just can't let myself do it after a loss. All right, let's go ahead and say what's up to everybody in the chat here. We got Matt Myers, Connor Chappell, Anti-Ag, a few regulars. What's up, guys? Support Jimothy Fisher. It's getting harder and harder to do that. It's getting harder and harder to do that. And that's the weird thing, man. All these losses have been so close, and, you know, you wish you had Wegman. You wish you had Evan this last game. But you have opportunities to win, so it's like the team is not 100%, but you're right there in so many games to lose in such disappointing fashion over and over again. I keep saying each one of these losses in a vacuum, I could probably stomach them. But the fact that it just keeps happening, you're so close to getting over that hump. And it just seems like it's a mistake or just bad play that doesn't get it done. So it's getting harder and harder to support them. Even though we're right here in all these games, you just feel like this team should have broken through on some of them. Annabelle Collins, what's up, Annabelle? Asian Persuasion, Jeb, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Anthony Myers. SB Hustler. Okay, honest opinion. Would you rather have Michigan's season with the controversy or either of A&M's last 2 seasons? It's time for Jimbo to get a Connor Stallions. Yeah, maybe Jimbo should be a little bit more aggressive with the sign stealing. Okay, so here's the thing with Michigan. I mean, I think they're eligible to win this year and have it count, but going forward, that's all a huge cloud of mystery. I don't know if they're going to go backwards and get rid of games, get rid of wins. That's a tough question. I don't know. I think I'd still like to have a future because this is like the last dance for them. It's like they know crap's about to hit the fan. I think I'm keeping A&M's wide open future alive. And I don't think I'm going to go with Michigan's season this year. Plus, their toughest games are still ahead of them. So we really don't know where it's going to go, although they do look like they're possibly one of the best teams in the country, or the best team in the country. So it's going to be interesting to see how their season goes down. I think I would keep A&M with the non-suspension future. Year 6 and the team still sucks. Yeah, unfortunately. Jake Burks, let's get Elko. Ooh, that's one name that I have had circled for a while. Duke's season's kind of gone downhill a little bit. So here's the thing: if you switch coaches now, you're looking at full reset. I mean, you're looking at another 5-year process. You're not looking at like a turnkey guy that Jimbo was, because Jimbo was able to come in with his pedigree and just start recruiting really well right away, kind of hit the ground running. You had great success in Jimbo's first year. Travion Williams was a hand and glove fit for Jimbo's system. You had Jay Sternberger that Jimbo was able to bring in from Kansas, I believe, and he was able to go right away. Now, when you lose your coach in today's day and age, my fear is that you lose a lot of players that were loyal to him, kind of go elsewhere, transfer portal. So you're looking at a full reset, and that makes me really nervous. So if you want a full, long process, I think Elko's the guy to go with if you're committing to the reset. Now, if you want a plug-and-play guy, there's not many of those names out there. So that's why I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm hesitant. I'm not totally against it, but I'm hesitant about firing Jimbo this year, just because I don't think the timing's perfect for a hire. And next year you have a lot of really good players coming back. I think there's less, and it's like we're not in a good position regardless, but I think there's less risk in keeping Jimbo one more year. Unless a crazy name emerges and it's a no-brainer. But another thing about that, with the buyout you have to pay Jimbo and the amount of money you have to pay the next guy, you might be limited in your ability to hire an upper echelon coach. So it does look like if they were to pull the plug this year, it would be more of a long-term guy like an Elko, which I think he would need time to build a program here. Even though there's a lot that A&M offers outside of the coach, I think you're looking at a long-term deal right there. But I do like Elko. Of all the names available, he had great success here. I mean, he was great. Penn State winning Saturday. There's been a lot of Franklin Jimbo comparisons. How do you guys feel about those? I don't know, man. I don't know. Anti-Ag says, Texas is very overrated, by the way. We'll lose bigly in the first round of the playoffs if they make it. Man, Texas has been super close against some middle-of-the-pack teams. But here's the thing about Texas that, is positive for them, I guess. Those are games that they're losing in the last couple of years. They're losing that Houston game. They're losing to Kansas State, which I don't know how they won that game. I don't know about you guys. I was at home watching the Ole Miss game. I had the Texas game on the side. And Texas was about to lose, and we had just taken the lead with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to win and they're going to lose. This is going to be perfect. Finally get to shut them up for a little bit. And then everything just changes. We lose, they win, and we just feel shitty. That was rough. SB Hustler says these past few games have me questioning things. Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, you wish you would have won that Miami game. These last games that we lost were some of the toughest games on the schedule. I had said all offseason that the Miami game was the most important, in my opinion, because it sets the tone for the year. It's an early test for a team that was just 5-7 on their first road test of the year. So I really thought that Miami game could be a tone setter and one you had to get early in the year. And right now, if we had that win, we only have 3 losses with Mississippi State on deck. I wouldn't feel quite as bad. I mean, I don't know how that Miami game went down the way it did. They want to bench Tyler Van Dyke, and at this point, I haven't checked. He might be benched. He's been that bad recently, and he looked like Peyton Manning against us. So yeah, these last few games, the way they've just lost, they found ways to lose rather than find the big plays to win. It's been very disappointing. SB Hustler. Jake Burke says, my biggest fear is if Jimbo gets fired and we lose all of his staffers, 50% of our roster will hit the portal. Yeah, absolutely, Jake. And with the talent coming back in 2024, I don't know if I'm willing to jeopardize that or risk that. That's my fear with firing him this year. I mean, I feel like you have to take your chance with this roster next year. Those 2022s becoming juniors. I just feel like that's the lesser of two bad options. I feel like A&M's just put themselves in a bad position, period, by losing games. But that's, I think, the lesser of the bad. Franklin is even better than Jimbo. At least Franklin wins when he's supposed to. I think every game besides the Miami game that A&M's lost this year has been A&M as the underdog, by the way. Although you wish, when you're just a slight underdog in 3 games, You really wish a team that's supposed to be as good as A&M is would come through in one of those. But I get what you're saying. But A&M was an underdog in those last 3 losses, technically, Vegas-wise. So, yeah. Matt Myers, the Longhorn, says Kansas State is a top 25 team and Texas beat them with a backup. It's true. It's true. Yeah, it's going to cost around $200 million to replace everybody if he's gone. Absolutely. All right, let's see which callers we have waiting. Jeb, you're on with Drew. What's on your mind, man?
What's up, dude? I see you're close to 1,000 subs, man.
I know. Thanks, man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone else for commenting and always being there through the ups and the downs. I can't wait to get to 1,000. I got to do something, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. There has to be some sort of celebration or special video. I don't know.
Absolutely, man. Another close loss, dude.
Feels like we're having the same conversation every week these days, Jeb.
We were on that winning streak. Now we're on that losing streak. So.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What did you make of it?
Kind of what I predicted. A close game. Most of us thought it was probably gonna be a close game.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the offense to play that well in the second half, though.
They played really well. I mean,
very well.
Is that the best they've played since Connor went down?
Absolutely. That has to be the best, even probably the season. That's probably the best game they played all season in terms of offense. I mean, it was nice to finally see a running game.
Dude,
I haven't seen that in a while.
I know, man. And you know what? When it started developing, I thought, oh, Moss is healthy and he's clicking. He's finding the gaps. But then when he went down, Daniels and Owens were finding it. The O-line made holes for the running game, and it was amazing to see. And I honestly – I don't know about you, but I felt like we were going to win that game the way it was trending in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
I felt it.
Once we got up 35-31, I was like, all we need is one more stop. One more stop, we got the game.
I know, man. Even when they scored quickly, because they left a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah, they
I mean,
did.
a minute 40 with how well our offense was playing. Now, typically, a minute 40 with this offense, we're not feeling like our chances are great.
All year long. It goes back to the Tennessee game. We're terrible at the 2-minute drill. Terrible.
I know.
But this game, they had a shot. Now, once I knew we had to kick the field goal and it was a 50-yarder, essentially, I was like, yeah, I think that's game. Like, dude, he's not going to make this.
I have such little faith in Randy Bond. It's
so sad to say that. It's sad because he was actually pretty good last year.
Yeah. I came into the year with – I mean, I didn't think he was Seth Small, but I didn't feel like it would be a liability or like a heart attack every time he was going to go back for a field goal.
He doesn't have the leg. I don't know why we don't use the 2-kicker system.
Do you mean like a deep kicker and a close kicker?
Yeah, because we have a scholarship kicker that supposedly has a big leg. Why not try him out for the 50 yards? Why not?
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? Bond did hit one early in the year, but the thing about all of his kicks, and especially his deep ones, and I know you know this, but they're all driven. They're all low kicks.
Yeah. Low.
Almost even the closer kicks,
blocked, right? When he kicked the last one.
Yep. They had a tall guy on the line, 6'7" apparently, and he just barely touched it. And it looked like it was lined up. It looked like it was good to go. It just fell like 7 yards short.
As soon as he kicked it, I thought it was there. I was like, oh hell yeah, he got it. But the
man.
Crowd reaction. My thing is with a minute 45 with 2 timeouts, I wanted them to go for the win. I'm sure they tried to, but I was like, I don't feel good going up against them in overtime. Like I do, but then I don't.
Yeah.
I said, I think you got to win it right here. You got to drive the field with a minute 45, and you got to try to win it.
Yeah, I would have preferred that too. I mean, that's kind of where I was thinking, but I mean, at that point, I would have taken anything to keep the game alive.
Oh,
but like you said, as soon as they were going to settle for the field goal and start looking like that, my faith started going down. So let me ask you this.
I was like, yes. And it was one of those things after the game. It's like, yeah, you're pissed, but at the same time, it's like, what else is new?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, let me ask you this. How did you process that loss afterwards? Because what I was just saying is I wanted to be really proud of this team for the effort on the road.
I want to be Kiffin. We've never beaten Kiffin.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, dude, don't even remind me. There was so much riding on this game, like chance to finish the year strong, Kiffin, get over the road hump, get some momentum.
They wanted it too. That Trey Harris guy was literally unguardable.
And that was the difference in the game. I expected Judkins to have some success. He's just that good. I mean, he's a freaking great back. He drove people forward. He drove good players forward. But the extra boost they got from their receivers, specifically Harris, just grabbing balls over our corners, just burning the barrier.
And I knew that. As soon as I read the injury report that Deuce Harmon and Chappelle weren't playing, I said, "Oh gosh, it's gonna be a long day
Yeah, yeah.
for the secondary." It's a huge. I'm sorry, we can say this. It's a huge drop off from those guys.
Man, like I said in one of my last videos, the portal killed this cornerback room. We've talked about it. I mean,
Yeah,
how many names? You can name them all, I'm
losing.
sure.
Yeah, losing. Yeah, it's an unhealthy obsession with A&M football.
I have them, just not on the spot. You're good at just reeling them off on the spot.
Oh yeah, I don't care. I've been a fan my whole life. I'm not even from Texas.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I'm from California.
Oh, nice. Dude, that's a true fan, though. But yeah, just so many corners, man. I mean, when you have DeBerry out there who's clearly not suited for the position, he's a great nickel, or a good nickel, not a corner. And then
Yeah.
Javen Thomas was getting picked on. They were getting
Yeah.
PIs on him, just going at him. Same with Sam McCall, who's pretty inexperienced, too. I mean,
And they've had plays go their way. There are times where I think Dart, his hand would get tipped, and the ball would go up like a duck.
oh, dude, a couple
And
times.
every time was like, like here it is, like here's the pick, and it never went our way. It was either a PI or the guy made an incredible catch.
That one where it didn't get tipped, but he got bumped while he was throwing, and
I thought it
Javen
was
Thomas.
a tip, but I guess it wasn't.
I looked at it closely. I couldn't see a tip. He got bumped, but I understand why
Yeah.
Javen would make contact with the ball.
Yeah, because when it's in the air
deflecting
like that, Tim, you can do what you want. And that Trey Harris guy, I know we offered him out of the portal too.
Oh, did we?
I think he's from Louisiana Tech. Yeah, I mean, heck,
Yeah.
we made him look like an All-Pro.
Dude, he looked
All SEC.
ridiculous. I mean, that was the difference. I mean, when you get that kind of play and you have Judkins doing what he does, it's going to be hard to slow him down. What did they score? They had 38, and that's their average on the year.
Yeah.
I wanted them to hold them to around 30 to win, and you know what?
And we
The
said
offense
if A&M
did
could
enough.
score 30 points, they had a chance to win. I mean, I guess they did, but man, dude, because Kiffin, man, he's always talking, man, and he gives us that fuel. It sucks because he's been talking about how he's always embarrassing this program, but we just can't get over that hump to beat him.
Dude, you know what? I'll give him this prop. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, Shamar Turner, after his,
He
what he did.
apologized, right?
Shamar had a nice apology, pretty sincere, short, quick. It was good enough. I mean, what you would expect from like a
Of
in the
course.
social
I mean, their
media
players
age.
were chippy, but I mean, you still can't throw a punch.
You can't be
like
the one
that.
that breaks. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just do it within the rules. But then Kiffin retweeted him and said, "Really cool to hear from you. Good luck the rest of the year." And it was sincere. It wasn't
Absolutely.
like it wasn't
and we
like
need
some
that. We need
Kiffin
that win, man.
craziness.
Because now, let's say conservatively, we go 7-5. We beat State. We beat Abilene Christian. You lose to LSU. None of your wins are quality wins.
You know what? I was having a discussion on Twitter about that, and you know what? Which season this is kind of going exactly like? Which one am I going to say within the Jimbo era? There's a season that the wins and losses are
This
kind
is
of
the
looking.
2019 season, huh?
That's right. That's right. You lose
That was the
every
year
game that's
We
supposed to be
played
like a toss
Georgia,
up.
right? Yeah, we played Georgia, Bama, and LSU, and Clemson, and those teams were all great that year.
And LSU. That was the Joe Burrow year.
Yeah, the Joe Burrow year, we got annihilated. But the Clemson game.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, but listen, against LSU, I know they're still a very good team, but they're very beatable.
They're
I mean,
vulnerable, man.
Their
they're-
record. What are they, third now in the West?
Don't they have 3 losses now?
Yeah, Ole
Two
Miss,
SEC losses.
Alabama, and Florida State.
Yeah, yeah. They're quietly having a subpar year. I know A&M's doing worse, so we get all the
Right.
headlines.
That
But
Malik Neighbors guy for LSU is probably one of the best receivers in the country.
he's
That dude's-
ridiculous, man.
That dude's ridiculously good.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Yeah, I feel the same way about that game, man. Their defense can be had. Now the thing is going to be, can A&M's offense stop beating itself and play a clean game
Yeah.
in that game? But if they do, I don't see why A&M can't score 30 plus again if
Yeah,
they play like they did
that's
versus
my
Ole
question
Miss.
going forward. Will this offense play like they did against Ole Miss, or are they going to continue to struggle? Because knowing A&M historically, they're not going to play consistently like this.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Game to game, it's always been kind of
Because
a coin flip.
I think they just got up for that game. They just really wanted to win it.
Yeah. So I don't know. To transition to the Mississippi State game.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm saying that A&M's getting that same offensive line performance as last game, I can
It's a
see
blowout.
A&M blowing them out. Like,
It's a blowout.
they're
I've watched
pretty
this-
bad.
I've watched State because they don't have Will Rogers, right? And
He's practicing
kinda
this
want-
week, apparently.
okay, I want him to play though because I want to finally beat Will Rogers. We've lost him the last 2 years.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the shot because they're a bad football team. Their defense is not good. They have those 2 good linebackers, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, offensively, they're kind of a mess without Will Rogers. They have, what's his
They
name,
have
Mike
that
Wright?
receiver that's really good, that number 5 guy.
Right, but their quarterback has been having issues getting anybody the ball. He's a
Oh,
run
he's
first
terrible.
guy, and his balls are just like ducks. I mean,
Yeah,
I think Will Rogers plays. I think they're gonna. I think it's all like kind of backs against the wall for them. He's gonna do anything he can to play this week, and them saying he's gonna practice.
I agree with that. The game should be at night. I'm going to a wedding in Houston this Saturday, so I'll be watching it on my phone.
Hey,
unfortunately,
we've all been there, man. We've all been there.
Fun story. That Bama game in 21, I was actually at a wedding too, and I was watching it on my phone the whole entire time.
Were you just in the corner, just that guy?
I was
just
in the corner on a
game?
table, watching it on my YouTube TV the whole entire time.
Dude, I've been so bad, man. I've been in ceremonies watching games. I think it was the A&M Georgia game in 2019, like we were just talking about.
Sorry,
I was watching
man.
that one.
Don't have a wedding during football season. That's all I gotta say.
No fall weddings, man. That's the rule.
Oh, the same way. That Georgia game in A&M when 19. Yeah, I was at the Baylor Texas game, and I was watching it on my phone the whole entire time when I was there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, what's your score prediction this weekend? You get me one?
Yeah. I think A&M can hang 30 on them. I think it could be like 35-10 or 42-10, something like that.
I saw someone predict 35-10, and my prediction, I went bold with it. I went straight up 42-10. I think if that's obviously if A&M gets any kind of consistency from last week to this week. So that's a big if. That's a big if.
Game. Come on, it's a night game. You got to have the blowout.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the night game focuses you up. I mean, I don't believe the intangibles have a huge effect on games, but I think they can focus you up. I think they can give you a more focused start to a game.
Even this year, going back to last year of all the injuries, this year, it just seems like we always have somebody of importance out every single game. It's like we get Noah Thomas back, but then Evan Stewart's out. Yeah. And then both our corners are hurt. It's like,
this is the game I think we can survive both corners being out. This one and Abilene, obviously, you gotta have them versus LSU.
Absolutely not.
You gotta have them.
Because they got two good receivers. They got the Brian Thomas guy, and they got Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
They'll torch you.
Dude, can you imagine going up against them with the same corners we had this last game?
No, those guys they're just not ready. And yeah, like we said, go back to the corners. We lost all those guys, and we didn't replace many of them. I said going into this year that we needed more corners.
You said corners and offensive line.
Yep, I said we need tackles, we need offensive linemen, and we need like a pass rusher.
Oh, yeah, a true edge guy, right?
Safety depth. I mean, the secondary in general, there's just not a ton. I mean, we have good starters, essentially, but depth-wise, it's just not really there. It's a huge drop-off. Where last year, I remember saying last year going into the season that this was the best group of corners in terms of depth and experience I've ever seen at A&M.
Dude, I know. One of the points I made in my video early this week was that that was a great 2022 class for the cornerback position.
Yeah, and none of them are here.
We lost every single
Taylor.
one. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Was Bobby did Bobby get recruited as a corner or a safety?
I think he played safety. He played both in high school, but I think they recruited him as a corner. I think they moved him to safety though, but he doesn't play. I don't know if he's just not ready, if he's just like injured.
Well, he's been hurt a lot, so he could be just behind the 8 ball, man. I mean, I don't know. There's some weird guys that aren't playing. Like we talked about every single video. It seems Ruben Fothery. I mean, where the hell is he?
Yeah, he's dressed out every game. So it's like, why in the hell is he playing? Why are you dressed out if you're not going to play?
Yeah, man. I mean,
and they confirmed Grimes. So what I'm thinking they're going to do with Grimes, they're probably just going to medical redshirt him and try him to come back next year.
Yeah. I mean, he would have been utilized this year for sure. And
yeah, he's better than what we have now.
Yeah, I know exactly. I
haven't even seen him play yet this year, but I can already tell he's probably better.
Yeah. Stay with me for a second, Jeb. I want to tackle a couple of these questions. I want to get your input on them in the chat.
Okay.
Hold on real quick. Noble Guy, to call in, all you got to do is click that pinned link. You should see it at the top of the chat, and you're going to be prompted to enter a waiting room, and just wait in there, and I'll pull you in after we get through a couple more callers. You can get on. The question I wanted to get to is this one. Stewart isn't hurt unless it's portal sickness. I don't know. With Evan, I know a lot of people talk about him entering the portal. From what I've seen from him, he does seem pretty gung-ho on being an Aggie, but he's one of the guys that keeps coming up in the portal conversation. What do you think about that, Jeb?
Yeah, I mean, you never know with these guys, but as of right now, I mean, why? I mean, you're the starter.
Yeah.
Why would you go somewhere else? I mean, unless you just want to go to a better team like Oklahoma or Ohio State or something like that, but why would you move when you're the guy here?
Yeah, you're already the guy. You're trying to make it pro. You're going to get enough showcase if you're the guy at a Power 5 or SEC program.
A&M, you can say what you want about A&M. They're still a top program.
Yeah.
They're a big time school.
Yeah, and I get it. He's like a super high level guy. He could go somewhere where maybe he wins more, but He seems like he's pretty locked in, but you really never
The
freaking
guy
know.
I'm interested to see who comes back because obviously you're losing Anais. I wonder if Moose comes back because he has a year of eligibility left.
Yeah. Oh, Moose?
Yeah,
Dude, he's a guy I could see transferring. I mean, he must have issues with the
but
staff
my
or
thing is
scheme
like,
or something.
wouldn't he have transferred already though? If he was going to transfer, he's been here for 4 years.
Right, right. And didn't he like not play at all? He played a little bit freshman year or something like that and didn't play at all soft. What was the year? I don't know. Maybe he just
So the COVID year, he was a freshman, didn't really play.
Right.
The 21 season, he didn't play till like the very
That's
end
what
of
it
the
was.
year.
That's what it was.
I think from what I've read and the rumors is like, yeah, him and the coach staff just like, I guess they think he doesn't give a ton of effort.
Yeah, and
so,
I've noticed he never really starts the year super strong. He usually takes a few
Yeah.
games to get into it, and that
But
could be
I
indicative of
think
just a
if he
bad
comes
practice
back-
player.
If he comes back, for some reason they won't play him on the outside.
Right.
I think if he comes back for what his last year, I think he'll be the permanent slot. He should be.
Well, here's another thing. I think he might have issues just remembering plays because I see him asking for alignments from other players,
Yeah.
players kind of throwing him around, pushing him around, getting him into position. So it could be that he just doesn't know all the plays and they can't play him in enough packages to get him on the field enough. And that's kind of what
'cause
Jimbo hinted at
you
last
think
week.
when one of them comes out, he'd be the next guy up, but they played Walker a lot in this game, which Walker had the best game of the season so far.
Yeah.
He
Well, how do
he
you feel
played
about
very
him?
well.
I love the way he plays, man.
Yeah, listen, even though he struggled in the Arkansas Auburn game, I
Yep.
still liked his potential. I said, this is a guy, he's coming from Division II.
Yeah.
So he's gonna need some time to develop. But going to next year, he's gonna be used a lot next year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, couple more questions for you before I let you go. Do you
Yeah.
think Max plays this week?
I want to say yes. Even though Max played a good game, but man, if you watch him in that Ole Miss game, he basically almost threw like 5 picks.
Absolutely.
He reminds me, and the way he backpedals when he doesn't even have pressure on him. He still backpedals. I don't get why he does that.
Yep.
He just reminds me a lot like Zach Calzada. Except Zach Calzada had a stronger arm. I did have a monster arm.
I definitely see it, man. I see it. Yeah, he could have had 5 picks that game. It seems like he gets tunnel vision at times. It was a play action on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1 where he threw the deep ball like on a rollout to his brother, but his brother was wide open, and so was Max
that
Wright.
was the 3rd and 1 play, right?
Yes, going left.
That was beautiful. The way he sold it because the
Oh,
cameraman
man.
got sold out. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. He like underthrew it.
Yep. Or he overthrew it. He threw it past his
overthrew
brother.
it.
Yeah, but they were wide open. It was him and Max were both wide open, man. Yeah, just plays like that. I don't understand because in that Arkansas game in the first half, remember how lasered in he was?
First drive.
It's just inconsistency with him, man.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of what it is with him. He's a guy that I still think he's good.
I do
just
too.
think He's just very limited. He's not. He reminds me of. He just reminds me a lot like Kellen Mond. He's a guy that you'll get some good games from him, but he's never going to take you to he's not going to elevate your team.
If you have a great team around him, if you have a Spiller, a Maroon Goon O-line, some good receivers, he could look great.
Imagine if we had a secondary and offensive lineman. We'd have a way better record.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I kind of want to see the Fresno State guy play just because I want to see what he can do.
I'm curious too. I know nothing about him. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know how he would look out there at all. I mean, we might. I have a feeling we're going to see it. I have a feeling Max isn't good to go. He was limp. He's been limping for a couple games now, holding his wrist. Now we're hearing about ribs. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if you watch that game against Ole Miss, like we all have, the offensive line played great, but he was still getting hit a lot.
Yeah.
His jersey was green, so he's limping. He's a fighter, man. He's a fighter. So,
give him credit.
This would probably be the game if you were to start the third string quarterback. You might be able to get away with it, but the dude, I mean, he's kind of unknown. I mean, at Fresno State, I think they said he only threw 6 passes.
Yeah. Oh man, 6 passes. I didn't know that.
And on Texags, they talk about him all the time. They just said in practice, because they see practice, that he's very inconsistent. He's a great runner, he's a great athlete, but sometimes he'll throw darts, and then sometimes it's just he's just not there.
Is that what they're saying? Oh.
Yeah, that's what. If you watch the show in the morning, I don't know if you do.
I used to be a religious Texags watcher, but since I started making content, I can't because I don't want other takes to influence my takes.
Yeah.
So I've really stopped consuming.
No, I like the show. I mean, they got some things they say that I disagree with. I feel like half the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's with anybody, right? I mean, I expect people to
Yeah.
disagree with me
And
all the
listen,
time.
I read these comments about Jimbo. Look, I'm one of those guys where I'm kind of ready to move on from Jimbo, but to say he's not trying, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't get the take of he's tanking it to
He
get his
just wants
buyout.
money. He just
Yeah, I
wants to
don't see
leave.
that.
No, he's making the adjustments.
Just a little
Like I
slow.
said before, I just think his philosophy on offense, I just don't think it works. I
Yeah.
think the offensive line they just look confused
Yep.
most of the time. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's complicated or what. I say next year we scrap it. We just go full spread.
I would love to go full spread, man. That's a good point. Well, all right, Jeb, I'm gonna cap it there. It was good to hear from you, man.
Absolutely,
I think we'll be talking next week after a win. I really do.
We should
so.
be in a better mood. We should.
I know.
Be okay.
I know. It won't be one of those same conversations again. Well, all right, Jeb. You have a great night.
All right, you too, man.
Later. All right, let's catch up on the chat before we get into the next caller. It was a good call from Jeb as usual. Ring dunk at 1,000 subs? That sounds doable. That might be something we can do. Why not just have a ring dunk on camera? Like, why not? We got a ring. We got pictures. Jay, what's going on, Jay? It's interesting that the Pulse didn't show the locker room after the game. As far as I can remember, that's a first. Did they not? I haven't watched the Pulse this week. I was actually just saying, must have been before you got on here, Jay. It's hard for me to watch the Pulse after a loss. And if you watch it after a loss, I give you a ton of credit. I watch the loss pulses after the next game that we win. I have to do it after a high note because for me, since I make content, I rewatched the entirety of the game a couple times usually. So like I had to rewatch the Tennessee game a couple times. I'd rewatch the Bama game. And it's like by the time I get to midweek, it's like I don't really want to relive that again. But I'll watch it like with the Miami loss after we beat ULM and Auburn. I went back and watched it. So no locker room footage at the end. That is interesting. I bet Jimbo just said no cameras this time. I bet the guys were really down after that loss to be so close. I mean, the Shamar Turner incident, I think that's just an indication of how frustrated they must have been, him losing his cool like that. So, yeah, but good credit to you, man. What's up, David Franz? Good to see you, man. Space Jesus, we should have won that game in 2019. Zebras was terrible that game. Yeah. Yes. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember being very angry at the Zebras. LSU looks beatable if the Ags can play clean. That's what I'm saying. We got to get our corners back. There's no way we're going to even compete with them if we go up against them with our like third, fourth string level corners. Javen Thomas, super young and raw. Definitely not super ready as a freshman. Great physicality, but he just not ready for that level of opposition. We're going to see Javen Thomas with a chance to have some success in these next couple of games. I don't think they're going to rush Chappelle back for any reason right now. Jeb says, after a loss, I can't watch the Pulse. All right, we got a first-time caller. Noble, you're on with Drew. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, what's up, man? I've been following the show for a while. Honestly, surprised you haven't hit 1,000 yet. It feels like you've had a bigger outreach. But first-time caller, excited to be here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a slow burn. It was actually accelerating quite a bit when we were winning. But once we start losing, I get people don't want to consume as much Aggie content, so it slows down a bit, man.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite effect for me. So when we're winning, I listen to every talking every content creator out there. But then when we lose, I kind of go into a shell. But I'm only listening to A&M plugs because I just can't handle the national media dunking on us, which is deserved at this point.
Deservedly so. And the thing that's frustrating about the national media is they don't see the full picture, so they're just like, "Oh man, they suck." And it's like, well, I want to hear more than that when you at least dog on us. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But how you feeling after this last game, man? What's your mindset after? I mean, a good performance, but in another close loss.
I've said it before in the comment section. I feel numb going into the final possession. It's just like what's going to happen before it happens. I hate that because I remember like early years of Jimbo where it was like, oh, almost every game he played was down to the final possession, which I was like, wait till Jimbo gets his guys and we're going to be able to win those, last position games, or hell, we're not even going to be in last position games. Now it just seems like you need to play. It feels like the Cowboys almost, where like you need a play to be made. It's not happening. It's not happening, and it's just like this or that. So you can't put your finger on one particular thing. So it's just kind of like gut wrenching all around. Like I remember, I'm sitting around with like my friends after the Alabama game. I couldn't be there unfortunately, and we have the final possession. It's like, guys, like, oh, we already know how this is gonna go out.
I know exactly what you mean, man. It's a good point. If it's not one thing, it's another. All year, it's been, well, besides the early portion of the year, but the defense has played really well, kept A&M in games. The offense just sputtering in the second half. This last game, total opposite. Offense finally gets it going, and then defense can't stop anything. Super frustrating. It's another good point that early in his tenure, we're just waiting for him to get his guys. We're in every single game, but it really seems like nothing has changed. It's the same. Close losses, close losses, close losses. We're right there. We're not getting blown out. Besides, LSU in 2019, that was a debacle.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow, I give us a pass.
Yeah, Joe Burrow happened to us. But it's just like every game is like this, man. It's gut-wrenching. But do you feel like they can build on a performance like we just saw? I mean, I saw some good O-line play at least, something we haven't seen in a while.
This is true. I just wonder, and I heard, just today actually, I heard that Ole Miss apparently has the 7th best pass pressure rate, which is, if we held up against that, was pretty good. I honestly didn't know how good the Ole Miss defense was. I thought it was more due to the Ole Miss defense wasn't that good versus us actually, outperforming what I thought we normally would. So
yeah, they were underrated defense. Yeah,
underrated defense. Clearly, something about I thought we took DJ Durkin from Ole Miss, that we would have that kind of performance, and it seems like Lane Kiffin's able to get more out of his guys than we are for some reason. At least on the back half, it's painful to see our secondary. Everyone has career days against us, I swear.
Dude, that's so true. Number 9, Trey Harris, absolute career day. And that's a good point about Kiffin out scheming. I do these pregame videos, right? And with Kiffin, one of my things about him is whatever they have on offense, whatever we have on defense, he himself, his play designs, his game plan, he's going to scheme up productivity. And I do not feel that way about Texas A&M. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like our offensive philosophies, our offensive, coaching.
I don't know what our identity of offense is the thing. 2020, I could say, point to the line, point to the run game, Kellen Mond makes a play here and there. I don't know what it is now. Before it was Connor Wegman darting it up, but now we don't have that. Now it's just really the identity is Max, on his heels.
I know, man, too much on his heels, but I saw some productivity this last game. I mean, it's a pipe dream, but they go out, they build on it this week. I mean, Mississippi State, not that good. Maybe they can get some momentum going. Abilene Christian, another layup of a game. LSU, I mean, like I just was telling Jeb, they're quietly having a bit of a disappointing year, and, A&M hasn't won on the road in how many games? 9 games in a row on the road, lost. I mean, it's a pipe dream, but maybe they can get over that hump.
Speaking about LSU real quick, it's kind of funny, but they're having almost identical seasons this year as last year, with the exception being instead of being Alabama, they might get I think they have 2 losses.
They have 3 losses. Florida State, first game of the year.
They had 3 losses last year as well.
Yeah.
But they might get their 9th win over us instead of Alabama. Seeing how the things go. I wouldn't say that with certainty, except for the fact it's on the road. And maybe you can ask me this question: why can we not win a game on the road and save our lives? That thing boggles my mind. I don't understand that.
You know what? I think it's just overall that we're underperforming, and it's hard to win on the road in the SEC. I just think that we're just underperforming, and the fact that you're playing on the road just makes the game even harder. I think if we're just not making these mistakes and players are playing clean and our quarterback's not on his heels and the team is blocking better, put ourselves in position to win on the road. I mean, we are in these road games, right? We almost beat Tennessee. We felt good about the game until the second half. Offense broke down. Defense held them pretty good. I just think we're just not good enough, man, and it's hard to win on the road in this conference. Yeah. That's why I said you got to win that early game versus Miami. You got to win that game because it was so winnable, and looking how they are now, I mean, that's just such a missed opportunity. And I hate these buzzwords that keep coming out of my mouth, like missed opportunity, mistakes, offensive identity.
They are, though.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Now, let me ask you this. I think I know kind of where you're at based on, I think I remember some of your comments, and obviously no judgment. Whatever you think, we'll go with. How do you feel about Fisher? What do you think the best actions for the future of this team would be regarding that?
God.
Not to put you on the spot. Not to put you on the spot.
No. I have to answer this question because I haven't been shy about it when anyone asks me. It's a depressing. I don't want to fire Jimbo. I like Jimbo as a person. I think he's got the fiery personality. I just think it feels like the game is passing by, and people said he was a quarterback whisperer for the last 2-3 years. You can't say that.
Absolutely
mind
not.
you, he hasn't had the O-line play to develop that, nor has he had Connor Wegman was supposed to be that guy, but it doesn't seem like we're producing even close to Heisman contenders at the moment. And Connor Wegman was a short thing because he struggled in the first half against Auburn before going down.
Yeah,
I think he needs some more, cut his teeth more in SEC play, but he doesn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as like the big picture with Jimbo, I guess, like I said, I don't want to fire him, but like, what are we waiting for? Like, if we don't think he's going to get the job done, are we gonna like? I think Sark is a better coach. I hate to say it. Like I think Sark has Texas in a better position, better recruiting. They actually have depth on the lines now, and they developed their O line. Like I remember when they got that big guy on their O line. I can't remember his name right now to save my life. But Texas A&M wanted him so bad.
Over us, yeah. He committed to Oregon, then he went to Texas.
Yes.
I'm blanking on his name too, but yeah, Caleb.
know,
yeah, it'll come back to me. But yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was like it feels like when we score big in the I think you said it before in your previous video where like when we get these recruiting classes, we tend to stack in one particular area. Yeah. It's kind of hilarious because like Texas used to have highly recruited recruiting classes, highly ranked recruiting classes with Tom Herman, but it was all like skill players, no nothing on the line.
Yeah.
But now like with A&M, it's just stack D line, and that's where a majority of our 5 stars are coming from. Yeah. Which is like, I was okay with that because you rotate those players in and out.
Very important position group. Yeah. Can change a game.
But then it was like, okay, so where's the big O-line hits? Like, I mean, Miami got their O-line, like the 5-star Magua, whatever his name is. And he he had a bunch of false starts, but I mean, he played for a team that ultimately beat us. And all these other teams, obviously Georgia, Alabama, Oregon.
Yeah.
They're recruiting on both sides of the lines, and it's showing up versus we're not.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm kind of rambling right now, but I guess like
you're making sense.
I want to go get someone who at least like because honestly I don't know where we are like even next year as far as like contending for a playoff spot or much less a national championship or a conference championship. But I want to beat Texas, and so I need a coach who can at least squeeze out the maximum amount of effort. And so that way I don't have to hang my head when we're going to play the game at home. I don't want to lose the first game at home to Texas.
Can't happen. It can't happen. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, man, I have nothing against your argument there. It makes total sense. And if the right guy emerges, I wouldn't be totally against it. Now, to your point about stacking like the D line, but not being fleshed out in all other positions, my video on Monday, the one kind of talking about Jimbo, I made the point that we're not maybe as talented as a lot of people want us to be or think we are all around. And that's exactly the point I was making. It seems like A&M has a stacked defensive line. All your 5 stars that played versus Ole Miss in that particular game, I believe the only 5 stars that played were on D-line. I don't think there was another 5-star athlete throughout the team at all. And I'm not saying that that's the end-all be-all for talent or what makes a good team, but it's just the point that recruiting rankings aren't everything, and it doesn't really give you the big picture of what your team is. Yes, we can recruit really well on the D-line, but I mean, we have a 3-star great linebacker in Torian York playing. He's awesome. But that's a 3-star player. Anais, our best offensive player, he's a 3-star player. We're starting a true freshman. I believe Basantis was like a 0.95 4-star, which is pretty good, or 0.93,
yeah, he's probably
like
our
that.
best recruited O-lineman, but he's a freshman.
He's a freshman, and you're starting him, and it's like, yeah, we're good. We have good enough talent. That's not the point I was trying to make, that we just don't have enough talent to win. But we're not like a juggernaut everywhere.
We sure get treated like that, and then when we lose, it's like a double-edged sword.
That was kind of the point I was trying to make with that. But that's a really good point. Yeah. So outlook on the rest of the year, Mississippi State. If you want to give me a score prediction there, how you feeling?
I think maybe 37-10.
So you're with the blowout too. Okay.
Yeah,
everyone I've talked to today is with that.
I think, it's our get-right game.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Mississippi State and, all the things they're going through. Everything I heard is Zach Arnett's not their guy. This might be his last game, honestly, from what I heard.
Dude, they're pretty pissed at him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then apparently, this was supposed to be Mississippi State's, big breakthrough year.
Yeah.
They had Mike Leach because of all their, upperclassmen and that quarterback.
Will Rogers, yeah. I mean,
Will Rogers.
He just wasn't the same, not in the system. Out of the system, he just hasn't been the same guy.
And it makes you wonder what Mike Leach could have done with A&M's talent on this roster sometimes.
I know, man. It would have been fun. Yeah, he was the last one of the air raid purists, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
Their program's in a really crappy spot. It's like you don't want to hate on the coach because he wasn't meant to be the head coach this year. But they're so bad, they're underperforming so much. It's like, what can you do? I mean, you got to move on.
End of the day, yeah. I mean, you're the man they gave you the rock to, and then they're probably gonna. I wouldn't be surprised to go get the Arizona quarterback, or they try to go get the Arizona head coach. I think Jeb Fisher's his name. There've been some good Pac-12 coaches that I've been looking at. Like, I don't know if you saw my previous comments, but I've like put out like lists of who I think like who might be good candidates if Fisher doesn't work out this year.
Yeah.
And like half of them are for the Big 12, Pac-12.
Wow. Yeah, Pac-12 has been really exciting. Too bad it's its last year of existence in the way it is. I mean,
It's kind of hilarious how that worked out.
it's hilarious. I mean, yeah, it's the best it's ever been, and they're gone. But yeah, here's my thing with the new head coach search. I'm not. This is me personally. Y'all do whatever you want, but me personally, I'm still locked in on this year. I haven't even started looking at names yet. The one that comes to mind, obviously, is Elko because of his history here.
Yep.
But once the season's over, I might start entertaining that more, looking
That's
at
fair.
the landscape.
That's fair. Yeah. Some
My
off-season content.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, man. If you have nothing else on your mind, I'm gonna move on. You got anything else for the crowd before you go?
I guess I guess assuming we're bowl eligible, which I think we both do.
Yeah.
Who do you think our opponent might be? This is just all shot in the dark.
Yeah, shot in the dark. My hope is, I mean, I don't think we're going to a great bowl, so I'm hoping for a bowl that I can go to. I'm hoping for Texas Bowl versus a Big 12 team.
Oh, yeah.
Just so I can go to it at this point. That'd be kind of fun to go to the bowl game. I like going to Houston when I have an excuse to do so. I'm from San Antonio. So I guess Texas Bowl, I mean, who would that be? Like Kansas State, Oklahoma State, something like that?
One of those two. Both of those teams could are having better seasons than us.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, here's the thing, man. Last point before I let you go. I feel like A&M typically does get better over the course of the year, and that is a testament, or I don't know what the word is, an indictment against how their fall camps go. Because I feel like A&M loses every second game of the year, which is usually your first real test of the year. They usually kind of hit the gates stumbling, and they usually build throughout the course of the year, and they have a big win late, whether it's LSU or
November is supposed to be the month.
Yeah, but you're usually too far behind by then.
The first two,
Yeah, man.
Real quick, I remember, especially early in Jimbo's tenure, it was like we would stumble, lose a game here or there in September, October. Again, he got the pass because it was the first year or two of his program, but we'd always compete in November. So you're right. I think we win these games that no one, like, people have overlooked us because we already have 3-4 losses on our record that no one anticipates us getting. Like last year, LSU is a prime example.
Yeah.
So, the only problem is we have to play them on the road.
Dude.
In Baton Rouge, we're probably going to get in that game, and it's going to be awful.
Yeah, I know. Don't forget last time we were there, that crap that got us the loss. I mean, what was it? Damani stripped them, and we got the fumble, but they didn't even call it. But anyway, man, it was good to hear from you, Noble. I hope you call in again.
Yeah, hey, great show. Look forward to hearing more of your content.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Have a good night. That was Noble, first-time caller. That was a great call. All right, let's catch up on the chat, then I'll get into our last two callers. Jacoby Matthews, let's talk about how sneaky quiet of a year he's having at safety. Also, with the big field goal block return, that was awesome, a great moment for Jacoby. And yeah, man, just being a productive player out there. Not a game breaker, but just not a huge liability out there. Just absolutely solid. Really good development. He's a young guy. He's going to be around for a while, you hope. That's a good point, man. It's good to have these safeties that we have. It's been a good safety and nickel group. Even if you put DeBerry in there, DeBerry's a good nickel. And Jacoby Matthews is part of that, too. Media loves to take shots at A&M. Of course, easy target. Under Jimbo, our defense is usually always good, at very least. Yeah. Offensive identity is desperately trying to score points. Yep. Anonymous says, who's this kicker? This guy ain't no Seth Smalls. Dude, we were so spoiled with Seth Small. Seth Small was the man. And yeah, this guy is just not it, man. He's not it. I mean, he's not terrible, but all of his kicks are super low, so the other team has a chance to block everything. It's a disappointment. So is the punting game this year. Special teams coordinator, maybe. I don't know how much there is to that, or if that makes a difference, or if your personnel is just playing bad. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's been a disappointment. Space Jesus says, I have no way of confirming if this is true, but I think I saw on Reddit College Football that we'd owe Jimbo $20 million within 30 days and the remainder of the term, which isn't awful. Yeah, that's a much better situation than paying him all up front, right? I mean, that gives you more flexibility, but then, of course, your bottom line every year is going to be more because you're paying other staffers who are currently at the team. You'd imagine you're going to lose some coaches on the staff, so it still hurts, but it's always nice when you can spread it out, when you know the money's coming in or money's there. It's a good point. That does help. LaCamera was a very good kicker, too. Yeah, man, we've been spoiled. Fire Adazio. Yeah, that has to be the first name on that list. I can't defend Adazio anymore. I've said this before. I'm not the kind of guy that calls for firings in the position that I'm in, but I can't defend him because of the players that have regressed. I mean, maybe it's on the individual players, but we've seen it across the board. We've seen it with Layden. We've seen it with Bryce, and then I don't know where Fathery is. So, yeah, I would be for that, I guess. Yeah. For me to be anywhere near okay going into next year, Jimbo needs to fire Adazio. That's 2 in a row. Thanks, Petrino Sunglasses. Yeah, I can't argue. I can't argue with it. Lash, what's going on, Lash? Good to hear from you, man. It's been some tough times lately, hasn't it? Lash says complimentary football, Jimbo style. The offense finally puts it together, but the defense can stop a kid on roller skates. Whatever the opposite of complimentary football is, that's been the mantra. All right, let's get into our last couple of callers. Spurhorn, you're on with Drew. What's on your mind, man?
What's up, Drew Tamu? Thanks for letting me in here. I got some good news and some bad news for Aggies. I'm a Longhorn fan, but I follow A&M pretty closely, and I'm hearing the word on the street that I'm hearing right now is Will Rogers is looking healthy and dangerous this week in practice, and I think Aggies have had an issue with Mississippi schools recently, like the last 3 years, and I think A&M's a little too confident going into this game. I think everybody's expecting A&M to roll in here and win, but I think this sounds kind of crazy. I feel like it's going to be LSU win in Death Valley, lose Saturday.
Well, he just cut out.
I'm not.
Oh, you're back. Okay, so you said we're going to lose to Mississippi State at home, but we're going to go and win in Death Valley at LSU. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if Mississippi State wins, I don't know if Jimbo's making it back to the Bright Complex. That would be a disastrous home loss. There's no way. There is no way. I just don't see it. I thought going into the year this was going to be Mississippi State's like revenge year. Do it for Leach. They have all their upperclassmen coming back. Will Rogers. They're going to let him pass a lot. But they've just changed things so much. They look so bad. If that happens, I'm not saying it's impossible. You're allowed to have your crazy takes. It's just a lottery ticket at the end of the day. But that would just be lower than low. I don't know if you really believe that, but Will Rogers would be the guy to do it. And yes, we struggle with the Mississippi schools, okay? But I feel like we usually beat one of them, except for like last year. Yeah. I don't like that take. Continue.
Right. The good news about that is I think LSU's fraudulent, and I think A&M could definitely get them in Death Valley, especially because LSU kind of fell out of contention now with their loss at Bama.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just think A&M is in such a precarious situation right now with Jimbo, because I was all fire Jimbo before the season, but now that the season's actually happening and like you look around at the landscape, like you said, there's really no slam dunk options besides like Texas State coach, UTSA, Liberty coach, who I'm fans of all these guys. Jamie Chadwell, I think they could win big in College Station. But you look at A&M's schedule in 2024, and it's really probably the easiest schedule y'all have had, depending on how good Texas and LSU are in a while. So if Jimbo's able to keep the train on the tracks, which is looking questionable at this point, he needs to win out, and brings back Weigman and Evan Stewart and all the studs. It does, I guess, make more sense to keep Jimbo for one more year, but it sounds so counter. It just sounds like we're doing the same thing over and over again. But I do think the schedule sets up nicely for y'all next year, so I wouldn't hate keeping him.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, because that's kind of where I am too. It's like, why jeopardize this 2024 year that honestly we've had circled since maybe late 2020 or early 2021 based on the recruiting we were doing at that time. I mean, there's not a slam dunk hire out there, like you said, and any of these guys, it's going to be a process, I think. And of course, like I've said before, any coach can go out there and have like a miraculous year one, but in all likelihood, you're going to lose a bunch of staffers, you're going to lose a bunch of players. Why jeopardize that? Like you said, Weigman, Evan, the D-line, a bunch of guys that are developing right now and improving across the board. This team has some holes in it. Hopefully we're able to patch some of those up with the transfer portal, get some guys back next year like Tyreek Chappelle. And yeah, you have a good run at it with a schedule that doesn't include Alabama or Georgia. So I'm with you there. It's like not a great situation, like you said. It's just, losing screws everything up, and that's kind of where we are now. But I mean, so you think we're gonna lose this weekend? Give me your score prediction. Go ahead and do that.
I think it's just going to be a low scoring game. The last time I went deer hunting, when A&M was playing Mississippi State and Kyle Field, A&M lost. That was when Calzada kind of
That was an
started.
awful game.
Yeah, so I kind of see it going the same way. I don't know if Max Johnson's going to play or not, but I think Ole Miss, I'm sorry, Hail State just wins 28-24, and I don't know how Jimbo's going to get through the next couple of weeks, but I think he will, and they'll win in Baton Rouge, and then the off-season hype train will start after a bowl win over West Virginia or BYU. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope what you're saying doesn't come true. I think we win them all. We're gonna win all these games. I don't know. I'll see as we go. But anyway, you have any more things you want to get off your chest before I let you go? I know you're a Longhorn, so you're not too deep in the Aggie culture. How you feeling?
Things.
How you feeling about your boys? Y'all almost lost these last couple of games, but you didn't. And the old Texas probably loses them, and that's a big difference for y'all.
That's right. That's right. I was conceding. I told all my friends, like, I experienced a loss Saturday. I accepted the loss. I felt all the emotions of a loss. I was about to leave DKR, but we won. We won with our backup quarterback, and we're still alive in the playoff race. And let this be a lesson to Aggies across the world that having a veteran team, and this is important for y'all next year, a veteran team is so important because y'all play in a close games pretty much every week. And that's how it's going to be next year, too. That's a good thing about keeping Jimbo. Y'all are going to be in pretty much every game no matter what. And older teams just find ways. Like we saw last year with TCU. Now Texas is a veteran team that used to lose a bunch of close games. So maybe next year A&M will start winning these close games like Texas is doing. But yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we control our own destiny.
All y'all got to do is win. It doesn't matter how ugly it is, I don't think, unless there's just a bunch of teams waiting in line at that final playoff four. But it seems like y'all just win and get in. Sounds like y'all are going to play Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship. Is that how it's trending?
Yeah, which is kind of scary because Mike Gundy, like in a game like that with nothing to lose, is kind of scary. But I mean, we match up well. I mean, they're running with Ollie Gordon, and our run defense is amazing. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think Texas just wins out. They're trying to already start the talk of Bama jumping Texas, which I mean, I get it. It looked good,
but
there's
no way.
but yeah, that wouldn't. Yeah.
I mean, I'm as biased as they come, but if you have the head-to-head and everything else is equal, there's no way it should happen. I don't think.
Yeah, probably bump a Pac-12 school out for Bama. But last thing.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'll tell you in a second.
Last thing I want. You actually, it makes more sense if you tell me first, then I'll ask the last thing.
You just got a compliment from Noble, who I was just on with. He says you know ball, so that's the biggest compliment you can get in sports fandom. The fact that you know ball. So this Longhorn knows ball. Congrats, you win.
Thank you, Noble. You also know ball. But last thing. Halloween just happened. We're now in the Christmas season almost. Drew Tamu, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, that's an easy one. Home Alone, the original. That's clearly number one for nostalgic purposes in my life. But I gotta say, not too far behind it. It'll never pass it because of the way my life has gone. But It's a Wonderful Life. I didn't discover it but a couple years ago. That's just a beautiful movie. So I'm going 1, Home Alone, 2, It's a Wonderful Life. Not too far behind. Gotta go Elf. How about you? What's your favorite?
I'm a huge Polar Express guy, but Home Alone is probably number one also. I think Home Alone, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to end the call, man. You have a great night.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye. Yep, that Longhorn knows some ball. He's pretty reasonable. He thinks we're going to lose to Mississippi State. I don't know if he really believes that because they suck. We'll see. Oh, Lash has Mississippi State being A&M too. Come on, Lash. You don't believe in Kyle Field? Night game at Kyle Field? What if they build on that good offensive line game? Mississippi State's not very good. I think A&M beats the bad teams. It's the teams that are pretty good that A&M struggles with, Lash. I don't think it happens. So we've had 2 predictions that Mississippi State wins. That just shows you what the opinion of Texas A&M is right now. I can't argue with you guys. I can't hate on y'all for doing that. I get it. Sam Pittman for O-line coach. That's a name that I would love. Another Sam Pittman. Lash, that's a good take. I didn't like your take of us losing this week, but replacing him with Sam Pittman, I do like that. Arkansas had a pretty big win at Florida last week, though. That's pretty nice. Good for them. Honestly, there's a big rivalry between, well, at least personally, I've had some experiences with Arkansas fans that have been pretty unsavory. I think I'm a fan of their program from afar, unless we're playing them or unless I'm interacting with their fans at Jerry World, because that gets pretty nasty. But I like Pittman. I like Arkansas. I have family there. It's not bad. Our O-line should just be better. Yeah, that's an indictment against Adazio. Absolutely. I don't like that we're starting a true freshman, though, at right tackle. Like you said, they should have gone out in the portal. Classic Jimbo losing to Mississippi State but beating LSU to keep his job. That would be so gross. I don't even know if I would appreciate the LSU win as much. I mean, I obviously would, but if I just look back and I see a loss to this Mississippi State on the record, God, this is a disgusting year. There's no way. I don't believe it. It can't. I really like this take, Noble. Swing for the fences. Urban Meyer, Elko, DeBoer, Lanning, Leopold. That's exactly where I'm at. And if you can't get one of those guys, I'm not doing it this year. And even if you, on some of those names, I don't know if I would this year. You probably keep a lot of guys with those names. I just don't want to lose these 22s going into next year when they become juniors, man. I feel like that's the opening of a clear window. Yes, Notre Dame has to come next year to Kyle Field. Week 2, can A&M finally win a big Week 2 game? I don't think it's happened under Jimbo. Lost to Clemson. COVID year, and your Week 2 was Bama. You lost that big. Almost lost to Colorado at Colorado, which was an awful game. The game Haynes King went down. App State, and then Miami. Can they get over that hump in Week 2 versus Notre Dame? Be pretty big time. I think A&M should be. That's a golden opportunity for A&M to get over that hump, I feel. If Notre Dame is losing a lot, they're definitely losing Sam Hartman. That's a huge opportunity to get a win in Week 2 over a high profile opponent. I like that. I like that we get them early. I like that we have them at home. Then we go there in the next year, 2025, and I am so going to be there. I've been looking for an excuse to go to Notre Dame. We're good at beating the bad teams. That's why I say we beat Mississippi State. Lash says, I don't believe in experienced quarterbacks. If Max doesn't play, we lose. That's a good point. It's a very good point. It just would depend on what these guys are. I meant to ask you this, Jeb, but I wonder if Marcel Reed will get a look if Max can't go. I wonder if we'll see a couple quarterbacks because you can't burn his red shirt at this point. I mean, you can save his red shirt at this point if you really wanted to with only 4 games left. Yeah, he can play every game now and still retain his red shirt, I believe. Dunking on Arkansas is always tremendously fun. I know, it's always an exciting game that we end up winning, right? So I don't have the worst opinion of that matchup. Yep, there's Matt Myers with his Hail State 24, Aggies 24. Yeah, we beat Colorado. I was just saying, did I say we lost? I meant to say it was like a super, super narrow win, but it was like a gross game. We won on that last second touchdown pass to Spiller in the corner. Yeah, barely won, yeah. Imagine losing to Abilene. Okay, Ben. What's up, Ben? We were talking about losing to Mississippi State. Don't even throw that Abilene loss in there. Don't do that to us. All right, last caller of the night, then we're going to get out of here. Oh, he has connection problems. So, guys, that's going to be it for the show tonight, unless he can get in last minute. If you haven't liked and subscribed, I would appreciate it if you could do that. We're almost at 1,000, and I guess I'm just going to do another ring dunk for my 1,000th sub. See how I do on live on YouTube or on a YouTube video. I guess that's what I'll do. Unless I see a better suggestion. We'll do a ring dunk at 1,000. But, guys, I appreciate you being here. This is a must-win, obviously. I think A&M does win. I think A&M handles this team, especially if Max plays. If they don't, I'm going to have to change my prediction. I still think A&M can win by a couple touchdowns. Mississippi State's pretty bad. Auburn went for like 170 yards in the first quarter against Mississippi State. And we know how bad that Auburn offense is. They can do it. I think A&M can do it. A&M has a better offense than Auburn. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Pretty confident. I'm not like super confident, but pretty confident. So I hope Max plays. I really do. Aggie Central, good to see you, man. Yeah, we do this live stream once a week, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. If you ever want to jump in and call in, I'm going to end the show here in a second. But next week, if you want to call in, man, I'd love to chop it up. Drinking stream next time. For 1,000, I'll do a drinking stream. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to start with a ring dunk. I'll be sober. I'll have my ring dunk, my pitcher getting close to room temp, and I'll chug it, and then we'll do the stream. That's the thing for 1,000. Ring dunk, then shotgun for local. I don't know if I can do that. I might just throw up from the taste. All right, we're going to end it on this. A&M 49, Puppies 3. I love it. Guys, thank you all. Like and subscribe. I'll see you after the game. I'll be at the game, so it'll be pretty late Saturday night. Thanks for watching.